Yo, we're recording. Recording. Audio works. Full screen. Recording. Audio works. Audio works. Okay, recording. Audio works. Let's go. Hey guys, it's Julian here, and today I'm going to be making a huge techno track in the style of Joyhauser and Spektre. So if you want to hear the finished track, you can skip to the timestamp at the top of the description now. And yeah, let's get started. So, like I said, I want to make one of these kind of bigger, almost more like trancey influence tracks, like you're hearing a lot now. I really like this style. I know you guys like this style, and I know you guys like when I make this style as well. So yeah, let's get started. Basically, what I'm gonna start with here is a kick. Usually, in techno, I like to start with a kick. It's definitely a good jumping off point. I have a kick sample here, that one. And yeah, we're just gonna take this one and we are going to put in some corner notes here. Let's make a little loop. Let's make a 4-bar loop. I usually start at like a 4-bar loop. Then as the track goes on, we get to an 8-bar loop. And then usually I just go from an 8-bar loop to the arrangement. Sometimes it goes 8 to 16 bars. It all depends. But yeah, this is sounding pretty good. Go to like 128 is usually like a good tempo for the style stuff. Like, sometimes it's like 127, 128, 130, that kind of range. Cool. And so the next thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to give this a little bit of saturation just to kind of beef it up a bit. We're going to switch this color mode to the wave shaper here. And okay, yeah, I'll probably do a little bit more of that as we go on, but you can hear this really is a good way to add some punch to the kick. Cool, so we'll turn it down a little bit coming out of there. And the next thing that we're going to make here is the rumble. The way I'm going to make this one is a way I've shown you a lot of times on here. Basically, what we're going to do is we're just get an audio effect rack, and I'm going to make 2 chains here. So right-click, create chain, right-click, create chain. We're going to name one of these dry, and we're going to name one of these rumble. Okay, cool. After that, on the rumble chain, what we're going to do is we are going to put a simple delay. I'm going to set that to 16 notes, which is the 1 setting. We are going to click this link here, which is basically just going to make it a mono delay. That's all you really want for a rumble. We're going to turn the dry wet all the way up, and then we're going to turn the feedback up a bit. Wonderful. Next thing we're going to get here is an amp, and we're going to put that again on the rumble chain. And yeah, this one's pretty simple. Honestly, you don't really have to do a whole lot to it. You can try some different settings. But for the most part, that's pretty much it. And you can hear what's happening here is, for one, it's making it sound pretty crazy, but it's also sort of like bringing out that like low sub in there. So then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put a low pass filter on there, and then we're just going to cut out all the highs. And there we go. We have some nice rumble, and if we blend that in, we have the startings of a kick. Now, I'm going to add a compressor on here, and we're going to sidechain this, actually, to the kick. So what we'll do is we're going to click the sidechain here on this compressor, and we're going to do audio from kick. And then the key here is this pre-effects thing here, because if you sidechain anything to this, the full rumble kick is not going to sound very good. It's just all going to be, like, kind of ducking out of the way that whole time. So what we can do is we can sidechain this to basically just the kick sample, and thus we get it just sidechained to that punch, and it'll knock it out of the way in time for the punch to come through, but we'll still get some rumble. So let's turn the threshold down. And cool, so you can hear this gives us a lot of room to play around with the rumble. Like you can hear by side chaining this, we're actually able to turn the rumble chain up a little bit more, like you saw there. And yeah, it's just a really good way to kind of like optimize this, I guess I would say. So then the next thing I'm going to get here, and probably one of the last, is this drum bus, which I usually just put after the rumble, just put it on everything. So I'll turn it off and then turn it on and just start playing with it so you guys can see. Cool. Yeah, you can hear what that's doing. Here's without it. And then with it, you can hear it's really helping to get the punch up there. And I'm going to turn the kick down as well. This, this is the spot where you start, doing a little bit of this mixing type of stuff. But yeah. Cool. So yeah, you can hear this just kind of makes the kick a bit fatter. We can even drive it a little bit harder. Cool, and then I'm also going to use a little bit of this boom. So you can hear this doesn't have the best low end right now. Like, it definitely has low end, but I've heard a lot of tracks by, like, different techno artists that have a lot stronger low end in their techno case. And so this is where this boom comes in, because what we can do is we'll tune this. I'll tune it to, like, F. Let's do F. That'll be the key of this track. We'll do F minor. So we'll tune this to F, and then if we just start turning this up, you'll hear. There you go. We got a nice, deep, stubby kick. Now, I can turn this decay down a little. But cool, so there we go. So this drum bus is really helping. So then, the last thing that I'm going to put on here for now is I'm going to get an EQ8, and we're going to just do a bit of cutting and a bit of boosting. So, which is what you do with all EQs. So what we're going to do is I'm going to make a bit of a cut, like, kind of in the mid-range. There we go, like in the low mid-range. I do this a lot in these videos. Basically, here's the difference. Here's without it. And with it, this just helps to focus the kick more on the ranges you want, which is like the low end, the high end, and then kind of like the mid-range around here. So we'll take this and give it a little bit of a boost. I'm going to turn up the Q. You can hear it's a really good way to add some punch to it. Basically, I'll turn that off and turn it on. Basically just bringing up that range right there in the middle where a lot of that like real punch is coming from. So then the last thing we'll do here is I'm just going to give it a bit of a high end boost. And then we'll give it a bit of a low end boost as well. And cool, so you can hear this EQ8 is basically just like focusing the kick. It's sort of like telling it, like the kick, I like to think of it as kind of like this crazy force that's like trying to push against your track, so to speak. And then this EQ8 is just like the thing that's kind of like filtering out parts of it and letting it all, like letting just the things you want really, really, really come through. Cool, so this is sounding pretty clean. So awesome. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to make the lead. And what we're going to do is we are going to get Ableton's wavetable, actually. I don't really use wavetable that much in these videos, but you guys will be able to see me use it today. The reason why I really like wavetable is pretty much this. What we're going to do is we're going to get a saw wave. Perfect. Let's just play with the amp envelope. A little bit. Okay, that works. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn on this unison here. This is why I like wavetable so much, because it's the only synth in Ableton that has like a really nice wide unison like this. What we're going to do is we're going to just turn this on. Let's just do the classic mode. Turn the voices all the way up. And And then we can have a high amount. I'm going to keep this like kind of in the middle. That's about good. Cool. And then I'm going to write like a little sort of lead pattern. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, but I know it's got to be an F minor, so that's something. But yeah, let's just listen here and I'll come up with something. Alright, that sounds pretty cool. So you can hear we just made this little thing. I like these kind of like rapid fire, almost like ARP leads. Like you can hear it's just kind of, it keeps coming in every bar. But then there's a lot of space as well because, you know, you have so much space in between the notes. But yeah, it's just like, this is a really good type of lead for this sound. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add some effects to this. We are going to get, actually the first effect I'm going to add is inside of the synth. I'm going to get this low pass here. We're just going to turn the frequency down. Turn it to 24 dB, so it's a little bit of a stronger filter. And then I'm going to put envelope 2 on the, not on the resonance, on the filter cutoff. There we go. Cool, and then if we go into envelope 2 here, we can kind of play around with it. That sounds good. You can hear right now it's a bit thin sounding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add oscillator 2, and we're going to just use a saw wave for that as well, but we're going to put it down an octave. And then the key is just blending that in. But you can hear the difference there. Cool, that's sounding pretty good. Maybe we'll try. I like this octave. Alright, cool. So from here what we can do is I'm going to add actually a bit of echo to this. Cool, and I'm going to play around with the delays here as well because we have this one. And then underneath that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a ping pong delay. So we'll have the delays kind of playing off each other. This is a really, really good technique for techno. Like having multiple delays and kind of stacking them and doing like different things with them. Really good way to kind of make your leads feel more interesting and kind of just cooler. So what we're going to do is the ping pong delay is going to be doing 16 notes, and that's stereo. So it's going to be going like this, kind of from the left to right ear. And then the echo will be mono. So now, if we play these together. So I'm putting the echo on dotted eighth notes. I like where this is going. I'm gonna try eighth notes, just regular eighth notes for the ping pong. Yeah, there we go. You know, if we have all this negative space here, like all of this space, we gotta put it to use. So that's where this echo is coming in. Cool. Put some reverb on it. Alright, and then the next thing we're gonna get here is a drum bus. So we need to fatten this up quite a bit. So let's put a drum bus on here. Cool, and I'm also going to put a bit of chorus actually before everything that I just did. And let's also put a bit of saturation at that part in the chain. Cool, so yeah, I'll show you like if I turn off this saturator and I turn off the drum bus. Even if we turn it up, it's still not nearly as fat as it was. So that's why those things are important. Like, you really need those to beef it up because if you have a point, okay, so like oftentimes in these type of tracks, you'll have like a really huge build or like some crazy epic breakdown, and then it'll go into just the drop is like literally just these two elements. And the problem here is that if your lead is like way too thin sounding or just not powerful enough, I guess is the way I would put it, you can run into some issues. And so this just won't sound that good. So this is why I spent so much time trying to really make this sound strong and fat and powerful. Cool. So at this stage, I'm going to add a pad, and this pad is going to be not like the most standard pad, I guess. Basically what I'm gonna do is we are gonna get let's use another wavetable here. I'll set this to a square wave. We'll set the amp envelope just like this, just kind of like flat. Cool, and then we're gonna give this a bunch of unison as well. Let's use a different setting for this one. Let's try like the position spread. Okay, there we go. Let's use shimmer. Excellent. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put the low pass on this. Like that. And I'm going to just put in some notes. And we'll kind of see like how this sounds. I'm not sure how well a pad is going to fit into here, but I know that we can do something good with one. So that's kind of where I'm aiming right now. Alright, let's grab that side chain that I have on the rumble, and I'll copy that onto here. Definitely needs to be side chain. go. So you can hear we just have this kind of like melancholic pad. Basically what's happening here is I have an F minor chord. I've just put the root note down an octave. So we just take that F down an octave. And then what's happening here is this has a little bit more action to it, because you can see this is all happening over quarter notes. But basically, the top note is just going up one semitone and then back down one semitone. So it's just going C sharp and then C. C as the fifth of this key. So just adding that C sharp there. Just a nice way to make it a little bit more tense. This sounds pretty good. So let's add a bit of chorus to this. I'm going to give it a bit of reverb. Cool, now let's put a bit of drum bus there at the end of the chain. Before the side chain though. Alright, cool, and then I add that phaser on there as well. This is something that a lot of producers do. I like this. It makes it kind of, you know, for one, it sets it apart from the lead a little bit, but also, it just makes it kind of like... You know, it's like really warping this way. Awesome, well that sounds pretty cool. Let's add some more synths. So this next one here, I'm gonna get analog actually. And we're gonna just make like kind of more of a stabby sound, I guess you would say. My plan for this one is basically it's gonna be playing like this. Yeah, like something like that. Like, it's gonna be just this little stabby kind of synth. Let's grab the side chain for that. It'll be kind of coming in here. And let's make this an 8-bar loop as well now. So just duplicate these, consolidate. There we go, we have 8 bars. Nice. All right, so we'll take this amp envelope, just sort of make it flatter. Let's turn off the filter for now. Detune these two a bit. Give it a bit of vibrato. Maybe some unison as well. And then we'll turn off the filter envelope and we can start playing around with this a bit. Oh no. Okay, we take all these, move them over 1/16 note. There we go. Alright, sounding pretty good. I like where this is going. The thing that can be tricky is you have all these synths, which are basically just detuned saw waves and square waves. Like, the truth is, like, you know, it's hard to get this kind of sound without just using a bunch of detuned saw and square waves. But because of where we're putting all these and because of like the way we're controlling them, even when I have all the filters all the way up, we can still pretty much hear everything. Like everything is still, you know, pretty much in its own little place. And this is what we want. Cool. So. Alright, there we go. So that sounds pretty good. Just got a little bit of an envelope on that filter. Let's add some chorus to this. And a bit of saturation. And then let's put maybe a bit of echo on this after or before the saturator. Cool, and then I'm going to put a bit of EQ on there as well, and just kind of cut out some low end, because this sound definitely is probably, yeah. And I'll put a bit of reverb on there as well before the saturator. I like to put all this kind of stuff into the saturator, because it's like if I have echo and reverb and stuff, I want to put that same kind of cool texture on them. You know, that's really how you make your sound unique. Cool, and we'll maybe add a bit of drum bus to this as well. We'll see. This definitely helps to fatten it up. Awesome. So the next thing I'm going to write in here is an ARP. So let's get analog for this one. And we're going to just make the amp envelope. Let's just make it like that for now. And cool, so let's write something in here. I just want something to kind of add some energy. I'm going to grab this side chain here actually and copy it onto here. Alright, cool. Let's make a little ARP sound. Turn this down a little bit as well. That sounds crazy. Let's do that for now, and then I'll change it up a bit as we go on. Wow, that sounds cool. Put it up an octave. I'm gonna just use one oscillator for this. Let's put it on square wave. Okay, whoops, let's use that pattern. There we go. That's a little bit more like droning. Cool, so let's turn up the resonance a little bit. I'm going to turn on this glide as well. Something that's kind of cool with analog is it has this like weird glide. If you set this to mono, turn on the legato here. Yeah, there we go. I think that makes it sound so much more tense. Awesome. This sounds pretty good. So yeah, you can see here, like, even though we have so many like kind of similar sounds, the key is just knowing how to blend them, and like these all work together. Because they're all in really, really different places sonically. So cool, let's work on this a little bit more. I'm gonna add some unison, some vibrato. Cool, and then let's try something a little bit as well with this saw wave. I'm going to actually give it a little bit of a pitch envelope. Yeah, that's cool. You can hear that. Just makes it sound a little bit more interesting. Cool, and then we can add some effects here. Let's give this a drum bus, because right off the bat, I want to fatten it up a little. That helps. We'll also put a bit of saturation going into that. Nice. Alright, well that's sounding pretty good. So let's add a bit of reverb there. Maybe a bit of echo going into that as well. Alright, let's put some chorus going into that. Cool, sounds pretty good. So I'm going to add a bit more kind of like percussion here. Let's go up to where the kick is. And let's add some hi-hats in here. I have a few samples prepared. I'm going to... Alright, let's take this hi-hat. And we're going to just put in some 16th notes here. That sounds good. You can see sometimes I'll just take a hi-hat and like drag the start time forward a little bit. Just gives it a little bit more like, I guess, punch. There we go. The dynamic tube kind of brings it to life a little bit. Great, so then we'll take that and let's get another hi-hat in here. I have some other samples. What I'm going to do for this hi-hat is we're basically going to layer this. So we're going to get this one and layer it with the shaker. And what we're going to do is it's going to make everything just a lot, like it's going to make this hi-hat sound a lot fatter. I'll kind of show you what I mean once I do it. Alright, we'll put in upbeat 8 notes there. Okay, so at this stage you can hear This hi-hat is good, but it's not really got like a whole lot of power to it. So this is where that shaker is going to come in. We're going to duplicate this, put the shaker on, and now you can hear it's a much more balanced sound. We have like some nice kind of high end, and then this shaker brings in the low end, or the mid range. So what we're going to do is on the hi-hat, we'll kind of cut it with a high pass. And yeah, this is really important. Like with techno, a lot of times I hear people making tracks where their hi-hats will be kind of weak. Like if you just use the shaker, for example, or just use this. It's not quite enough compared to like how powerful the kick is. When you bring that shaker in, it kind of fills it out more. Cool, so let's give this some more percussion as well. I'm going to actually group together these hi-hats real quick. And we're going to just make a hi-hat bus. Basically, when you group things together, I call that a bus. Yeah, it's just kind of like when you hear people talking about busing, this is what they're talking about. Basically, it's just putting like a few of similar sounds through the same effect. And what it's going to do is just make them all sound a lot more cohesive and kind of like, yeah, give them all the same textures. So we're going to put a bit of drum bus on here. And there you go, you can hear it. So here's without that. And with it, so you can hear it just makes them sound so much fatter. And then we're also going to put an EQ8 on here. Cut out the low end. Cool, that sounds good. Let's name this hi-hat bus. Cool, and then at this stage also, I'm going to turn everything down a bit. As you can see, we're starting to get up there to clipping. So we're just going to go to session view here. You can also do this in arrangement view, but I like to look at the VU meter while I'm doing it. And we're just going to click on one track, hit Control A, and it's going to select everything, and then we can just turn it all down. And about there is good. You know, you usually want to be hitting about like -5, -6 when you're at this stage in your mixing. So having it a little bit below -6 is good because I'm going to add a few more things anyway. Well, that gives us some headroom to turn the kick up. Excellent. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit more percussion to this. I have some samples. I have like this and some claps. So I'm gonna just play around with these. Maybe we can take this rim shot and put like some reverb on it. And then I'll put a bunch of pre-delay on the reverb. Yeah, that sounds cool. And you can hear this rim shot is kind of just hitting on that one little, like right there. But that kind of is like playing off of the rhythm of the lead because you can hear we have like the lead happening there as well. This is just like kind of a thing about like, you know, making sure everything is really cohesive. When you're adding a new element, you don't want it to just be like a cool element. You want it to be something new that's adding something to the track that wasn't there before or kind of accentuating something. Pretty good. Let's also get this sound. Pretty famous techno sort of sound. Again, this percussion is all playing off of the lead, or off the rhythm of that lead. Kind of like, bow, 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 bow. If I really wanted to be cool, I guess I could do it like this, like have it on that 116 note there. I don't know, I kind of like having it here. Let's take this. I'm going to group these two layers together. I'm going to make a little percussion bus similar to the little hi-hat bus, which had a bit of drum bus on there. And put some EQ8 on there as well to just kind of cut out some low. Awesome. I do have that one other clap, and I'd like to add a little bit more to this. Let's take this one, and we'll add something. Oh, there we go. Now we have all the percussion playing off of basically itself. And then also playing off of the lead. So let's take that, we'll turn up the release. Let's put a bit of ping pong delay on this clap. So at this stage, I'm going to do some extra little like mixing stuff, just kind of like before we go to arranging this track, just kind of making sure everything works really well. I'm going to beef up the kick a little. That sounds good. On the hi-hats, I'm going to actually add a bit of reverb before all the effects. So we're just going to put that on there. Yeah, you can just hear like with that versus without it, it's just helping to add a little bit of life to these hi-hats. It's a really good technique to make your hi-hats sound not just like kind of dull samples, but more like alive. We'll turn this down a little as well. Great, so now I believe it is the stage where we are going to start doing a bit of a structure. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start with just taking everything here, and let's turn off this automation lock, and we're just going to drag everything over to here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say, I'm just going to grab one element and just put it in here to start the track. So let's get the kick. Makes sense to start a track like this with the kick. Cool, so we'll start it with the kick, and then we'll duplicate the kick over a bunch of times, and then maybe we'll have the hi-hat start coming in, like we'll get the 16-note hi-hat. We'll start coming in here. And we can grab these hi-hats to come in here. Cool, and then we can also get this percussion, like I'll have all the percussion come in here, and maybe at this point we will have some things start like teasing. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, perfect. Very good. So from here, we'll grab like some of these elements and start bringing them in here. Like I want to use the ARP. Like I want to just have the ARP going all through the beginning here. And what we'll do is it'll be just kind of coming in with this low pass filter here at the start. So you won't even really hear it at the start, but then it'll like slowly start making itself more apparent in the mix. There we go. I like doing little cuts like that. That's something Joyhauser does a lot. Cool, and then at this point, we're going to have the kick just kind of filter up. I know this is very much my ADHD speaking, but yeah, what we're going to do here is we're going to just add this little like high pass here for the kick in this last bar of the intro. So just kind of like this. There we go. All right, so that's cool. So we have the ARP kind of in the intro here. You see I just have this auto filter going up, and then once that goes all the way up, then we start playing around with the filter that's like in the synth. Cool, it's sounding pretty good. Let's start bringing in this pad as well. Like this will definitely be in here. And we can start having it kind of like come in there. Like we'll have this filter just really slowly filtering up to about here. I like making the automation kind of irregular. And what I mean by this is like, you can see, I don't have this just going all the way up just like this, just from start to finish. Instead, I have like this point here, and then we have this point here. You know, it's like stuff like that. Makes it more like organic sounding. Alright, so that's starting to come in. And then in this part, yeah, there we go. Awesome, sounds good. So we have this kind of like building up here at the end. And then it'll go back down. We can still save some intensity for the break. Excellent. So let's get this lead now. We'll have this just kind of, I'm not sure where I want this one to come in. Then we'll have this like, here, let's do this. I'm going to have this happen like half as frequently throughout this intro. This will just be coming up in the intro, and then it'll go, yeah, it'll just kind of come in. So we're going to have this do like this, basically where it's going to be like that. And then once it gets to here, it's just like constantly going. And actually, maybe we'll save that for here, because usually in the second half here, like this, of this part, you're not expecting something new to come in, so maybe we'll have this just kind of still breathing here, and then in this part is when it'll go crazy. Awesome, sounds good. So then I'll give it some automation in the beginning, like just something where kind of like building up. Let's also put an auto filter on there, just kind of building up. So that's like more slowly building. And there we go. Alright, then we'll save this synth for like the break. Like, I like to kind of, you don't want to just give it all away at the start. You want to have something that kind of comes in at a different time and, brings something new. Cool. So, from here, I believe, let's hear how this goes out here. Sounds good. Just kind of mixing as we go with the hi-hats here. Well, alright. Now it's time for a break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the automation lock here. Basically what this is you just click it when it's orange. It locks the automation, meaning basically you can copy a clip without copying over the automation. Because you can see if we don't have this on and I duplicate it, there we go. We're also duplicating the automation, which isn't what we want. So if we put this on, there we go. It's just a blank slate. Cool, and then we'll copy these over as well. And I'm just gonna start drawing in automations here, like as I feel them. Nice, and let's copy that percussion for here. So yeah, so you can see like with the arrangement and stuff, it's not that hard. It's just a matter of knowing like what you want, and then also just sort of like listening to it. Like you can see like when I did these automations here, for example, I was listening to these, and I wanted the pad to kind of go away there, and this thing to start coming up. So I just have those kind of like playing off each other, where this one's going down to where you don't hear it, and then this one's coming up, and then this comes in. So it's like, just knowing how to play around with it like that. But yeah, definitely I recommend listening to your sounds while you're doing the automation. Like, you don't want to just do what you hear in your head. You want to do what sounds best. Okay, cool. I like to just check on that. Cool, we'll start bringing in the ARP again here. Cool, then let's copy the full hi-hats from here. Let's bring in the pad here. Or we'll start bringing it in at least. Let's do another automation of that EQ8 on the kick here, so it'll just kind of high pass in this part as well. Awesome, sounding pretty good. So I'm gonna do a little bit of mixing here. I'm just gonna go in and like cut out all the low end on these sounds. There we go, like on the ARP. We'll do that on the pad as well. Let's do it on this little like weird lead thing. And that one I already did it. And then we'll do it on the ARP real quick. You know, just cutting out the low end, making room for some bass, which I'm going to add to the break here. So we're going to do a little bit more with the break and a little bit more arrangement and stuff. And then I will get to mastering with this track. But yeah, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to add a respace actually in the break here. And so we're going to just get wavetable. And yeah, there we go. We're going to put this in a really low octave. We are going to set the amp envelope just like this. Just flat. Give it a saw wave. We'll give it some unison. Classic. There we go. I just want this to be as big as possible. Alright, let's do this. I'm going to write this bass line in here. So we're going to just add... Alright, cool. And let's add some extra notes in here. I'm going to go... C... C sharp, so you can kind of hear what's going on there. Cool. That just needed to filter out a little bit more there. I'm gonna give this a saturator. Put some chorus on there as well, going into the saturator. Nice. That gives us some movement in the break. gonna cut out this here. And then let's add something in the break here. So I have a snare. And I'm thinking maybe we could do like a subtle snare build. It's not gonna be like the biggest, just like in your face, kind of like type thing, but we will give this just a bit of, something to kind of build it up. Push this up a bit. About there sounds good. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a utility on this, and we're gonna just cut out the volume, and it'll kind of build up. Okay, so then I'm also gonna automate this reverb. We're gonna automate the decay time or the dry wet to go up, and then we'll give that a little right there. And then we're also automate the decay time. And there we go. And then on top of that, we're gonna give this a high pass with this EQ8, and we're gonna automate that to go up as well. Good. And then one more thing that I want to do here is I have a ride cymbal. This one, the 909 ride. It's used a ton in these type of tracks. And I'm gonna put this in this part. Let's put it into this hi-hat bus. Let's name this one the percussion bus as well. Cool. And then on the alright, let's put that there. Give that a little bit of a high-end boost. Cool, and I'll turn up this release. And then we're going to just put the high pass on here. We don't even need to use like an EQ or anything. We're just going to high pass that so it's just like really, really bright. High-end like that. Cool, so then we'll just put that in there on the upbeats. I'm sure you guys recognize this sound, but yeah, it just kind of nice way to differentiate it, because it's like in this part you have this, which is like, as far as we knew at this point, that was the most intense part in terms of like high end and hi-hats. And then by saving this for kind of like this part, now all of a sudden, there we go. Also, let's do a little bit of this like cutting thing there where we have it all cut out. Yeah, there we go. It's like you don't want to just give it all away right at the start of the track. It sounds good though. At this stage, I'm just going to do some extra mixing stuff. Like I'm going to add a bit of compression on the hi-hats for sure. That sounds good. Let's compress the percussion bus a little bit too. Sounds good. We can listen to the kick, maybe we'll turn it up a bit. awesome. So I believe at this stage it is time for mastering. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the loudest part of the track, which is right here. This is when we have the most things happening. And we're going to just loop it and listen to it. And first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to check where the master is hitting, because you can see, like I was saying, we want our master to be around like -5, -6. Usually at this stage where we're at is called the pre-master. Basically you have the finished track and the only thing it needs left is mastering. Usually when you're at the pre-master stage, you want to be anywhere between -3 and -6. It's a little bit more lenient at this stage. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to just select everything here. We're just going to turn this down. And to refresh this, because it just stays on whatever was the loudest point you got to, you just click on this while it's playing. Okay, that's pretty close. It's a little bit below like where I would normally have it, but it's fine. I mean, it definitely works. Like the more headroom, the better, kind of. And when you do have a lot of headroom like that, you have a lot of room to play around with different things in your master. Cool. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get an EQ8 and put it on the master. We're going to do a little bit of a low end boost. We're going to do a little bit of a high end boost, and then we are going to do a cut around like. Let's do 245. That works. And let's turn the Q up there. And so here's what this sounds like without the CQ. And then with it. So you can hear what's happening here is it's just opening up the track a little bit more. It's making it like a lot more kind of focused sounding, I feel like. Like it's bringing out those sharp highs. It's bringing out the really powerful low end and the kick. And then this just kind of cuts out some of that muddy stuff, which in turn opens the mix up. Cool, so then the next thing that we're going to do here is I'm going to add a little bit of saturation. I like doing a bit of saturation on the master because I'll kind of show you why I do this. Basically, if we turn this drive all the way up, you can hear, although it's pretty awful, everything gets really, really crunched together. Like, it's just, what saturation does is it crunches things together. And so you can do that on a much smaller scale or like to a much smaller effect and still get a really nice like it'll just do that without hearing the obvious like crunchy clipping. So we can just turn the drive up a bit. And so yeah, you can hear I actually have the volume pretty much the same. It's just adding that little extra bit of punch there by kind of like I said, crunching everything together. Cool. So then the next thing we're going to do here is a bit of compression. I'm going to get a compressor. We're going to turn off makeup gain. And we're just going to turn the threshold down a bit. And I'll kind of show you what we're going for here. So this compressor is doing. I'm not doing a whole lot. I just have this compressing like really the peak. It's just helping to bring everything a bit closer in volume. You know, compression kind of gets a bad rap because a lot of beginners especially, use it the wrong way. Like it's just something that's easy to do wrong if you don't really know what's going on with it. So what we're doing here is basically I'm just using it to get the volumes a little bit more even. Like that's all it's meant to do is just get the volume of everything that's coming into it to a more even level. And then obviously if you way over compress it like this, then it's just doing that to like a little bit too high of a degree. But yeah, so that's what we're doing here. This is just helping to make everything a bit more even. And I have the attack up here. And the reason for this is because basically the attack on a compressor says how long it takes for the compression to kick in. And a lot of times what can happen is basically like with your kick or sounds like that are very percussive, you can see we have this transient here. It's this part that I'm circling. It's just like the very like attack right at the start of the sound. And what can happen a lot of times is if you compress something without playing with the attack, you can flatten that out just as much as you're flattening out the rest of the sound. Like we want to, not even flatten it out, but we want to kind of compress like this part of the sound, like the body. So we want to use the attack to get it out of the way of all the transients of our sounds. And so that's the purpose there. Yeah, you can here, when I turn it off and on, it's like kind of subtle. That's what you want, obviously. You know, definitely subtleties are good. But it's just hoping to make everything a bit more cohesive. So then the last thing we're going to do here is I'm going to get a limiter, and we're going to just start turning the gain up here until we hit 0 dB. Cool, and there we go. So then what this is doing is this is just getting the volume up there to 0 dB. You know, every track has to hit 0. That's kind of like the standard for loudness. So it's like right before it's about to clip. And the reason why we're using a limiter to do this is because it has this gain on here, which is just a clean volume boost. It's nothing else. It's just turning the volume up. It's not doing any kind of limiting, any compression or anything. But if I do this with the utility, which is another way you could do just like a really clean, simple volume boost, you will see. Let's turn this up 3 dB, same amount as the limiter. Like you can see, and maybe we'll turn it up a little bit more. There'll be some points there where like just one ear is clipping, like you can see. Just the right ear is clipping. And there it's clipping both. But yeah, like stuff like that happens. Like it'll be good, you'll have it at 0 dB, and then there'll be just one point where there's like a slightly louder sound and it goes a hair over. So that's what the limiter does. It just kind of assures that that isn't going to happen. It gets the volume up there, and then if it goes slightly over, it limits it, but not to where it'll be super noticeable and bad. Like you can hear, it sounds very clean. And also, the key here is with the limiter, just don't turn it up too much. You just want to turn it up to where it's hitting 0 dB. It's actually kind of useful to do it with the utility because you can see there, like, kind of the threshold where it would be going over. Like, if I just turn this up to 5, or like 6, now it's just super flat, and we would have no way of knowing, like, sort of where the threshold is. So, yeah. You just want to get it up to there because you can see it's still moving. We still have, like, you know, this isn't just a brick just yet on the master. Yeah, sounding pretty good. At this stage, I believe we've gone through, we've made this whole track here. Let's listen to everything that we just made. Awesome. Well, sounding pretty good. So I believe that was me for this one. Thank you so much, everybody. as always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe, and let me know what you think of this video in the comments. You can also check out all my social media in the description. Give me a follow on Instagram or Twitter, something like that. You can see all my other content that isn't just on YouTube. And yeah, like I said, you can get the project files, samples, MIDI, presets, all that kind of stuff from this video in the description. Make sure to check for that. And if you're a patron on my Patreon, check there because it'll be available there shortly. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow with another video.